We've had the most beautiful start to the morning. I woke up to a blanket of fog. It was so beautiful. Lots of ice and frost, the kind that sticks to the trees and the leaves. So I thought I'd try and get out and get some photographs, but as I've been driving, the sun has emerged and where it's touched, it's melted the ice. But in the shade, there is still plenty, so I'm going to try and get some nice frosty photographs, hopefully, here at Calke. And I'm going to have a wander around and see if I can find any snowdrops too. I've just been getting some photographs and all I can hear, literally all I can hear, is the sound of the birds and the squirrels scampering around in the leaves. Maybe you can hear them behind me. Oh, there he goes. He's got a nut. There he goes, up the tree. Yeah, it's just so beautiful this morning, honestly. I've been out getting photographs of this hat. My friend Annabelle has just launched a new line of, it's going to be clothing and hats and bags, all very, very ethically sourced, slow made in Britain, very limited pieces that are designed and made to last. So she sent me this hat, which is beautiful. I love it, and it suits my my woolen coat perfectly. So yeah, she sent me this hat, which I have been getting some photographs of this morning. What a beautiful morning. Oh, I'm so happy. These squirrels are gone running up the trees. What a gorgeous, gorgeous morning. I know I use the word far too often, but it really is just beautiful. Getting out, enjoying all the beautiful little details that make winter enjoyable. The emergence of spring with the snowdrops, the frost and the ice, they're just so, so pretty. I never used to like winter at all. I really, really couldn't get along with it. I imagine that must be all my years of living in Saudi when you lived in the land of eternal summer. I just, yeah, you never saw anything but sun. I think maybe 2 days a year you'd get rain, but otherwise it was sun and hot. You just knew what to expect from every day. And then moving back here, it's just like, oh, seasons exist. So just getting to learn and appreciate all the different seasons has been interesting. Yeah, I was always a summer baby, and then I started liking autumn with all the colours, and then spring and winter has taken a lot more getting used to, but I'm starting to enjoy it now. come into the orangery out in the garden. It feels very, very bare. There's nothing really there at the moment other than a bit of rhubarb. But yeah, in the grounds there's lots of snowdrops, which are beautiful to see. Oh, that reminds me, we've just had our first iris and crocus blossom in our garden. I'll have to show you those because they're so beautiful. Oh, I love this orangery. The light and the space is really, really lovely. The only thing that I can smell at the moment in this orangery are these really beautiful daffodils. Their scent has completely filled this space. Such tiny little flowers. What a lovely spot to sit. Take in the sunshine. Scent of the daffodils. And the view out into the garden. So many different varieties of snowdrops, different shapes and sizes. These little dainty ones here. These are quite flower-like. Look at the way they open their petals. These ones are really different. I've not seen ones like this before, like the little green leaves. There's this one up here which looks giant. I don't know if this will translate on camera. I'll put my hand up 1 second. My hand for comparison. Look how big. When you compare to the other ones, a teeny little thing. That is a monster. Rodmartin regulus. I wonder if that's from Rodmartin Manor. I've not been there yet. I'd like to take you. Anyway, lots of different varieties. Oh, they're pretty. They're really nice. Lady Beatrix Stanley. I'd like some of those for the garden. And look at these little things. Little bells. Very cute. One thing I love at Calke is this plant theatre. I think it's Victorian, but every season they have something different on display here. If you watch my Calke Abbey tour video, that was in autumn. This was all full of squash of multiple different varieties and all different colours. It was like a rainbow. It was absolutely stunning. I'll see if I can find a little clip of it so I can incorporate it into this video. But if you do want a full tour of Calke, by the way, I do recommend watching that episode. I'll take you inside the house, which is currently closed for their winter management, clean up, all that jazz. Right, I am going to head back, I think. Got on all the photos I want. Had a good dose of nature. Hello, squirrel. Yeah. Head back and see what the rest of the day holds for me. I'll try and remember to show you my iris and crocuses. We've got tons and tons of daffodils and tulips that are sprouting up as well. Also, they won't be just yet. They'll be March and April. Tulips maybe even into May. But yeah, I can show you the iris and the crocus at the moment. This morning I have come to a place called Baddesley Clinton. It is in the county of Warwickshire and it's a really, really lovely house. You can see it behind me, but it's got a fascinating history to it. It dates back, the land and the estate dates back to the Saxon times, when there was a farmer by the name of Badde who drove his cattle through the Arden forest and decided to clear a little clearing for his cattle to graze. Now that clearing was called in the old language a lea, so it became Baddesley, and that gave it the name that it has today. And from there the house went through quite a few different hands, and when the Normans invaded it passed through multiple different families until eventually it came into the hands of the de Clintons in the early 1300s. And they kept it for about 100 years until the Brome family inherited it in 1438. John Brome became the owner of Baddesley Clinton. The de Clinton family before him gave it the title of Clinton, so that became the name of Baddesley Clinton as it is now known today. But yeah, then from the de Clintons, John Brome inherited the house. Well, John Brome, he came into a little bit of trouble. He was on the wrong side of the War of the Roses, and he had a bit of an argument with the steward of the Earl of Warwick, who was otherwise known as the Kingmaker. I might go into a bit more history about him tomorrow. I'm planning to go on a little visit to Warwick, so I might go into a bit more history about that. But anyway, John Brome had a bit of a falling out with the steward of the Earl of Warwick, and it came to a bit of a grisly end, getting murdered in London. His son, Nicholas, took vengeance on his father's death, and he murdered the steward of the Earl of Warwick. Now, for that, his penitence was to pay his widow, I think it was 33 shillings and fourpence, and to pay a priest to do daily masses for both his father and for the steward. So that was his penitence. Now, that wasn't Nicholas Brome's only murder. He did go on to commit another. Now, when his mother died, Baddesley Clinton became Nicholas Brome's property, and with that came the right to to hire the priest for the parish. So he hired a man called William Foster, and a few years passed, and one day he walked into his parlour to find the priest stroking his wife under the chin, and flew into a rage, drew his sword and murdered him. And for that, again, his penitence was quite lenient. He hired the tower of the church here at Baddesley. He also hired the church at nearby Packwood House. And those two towers became known as the Two Towers of Atonement. But that was his very lenient penitence. Now, it's Nicholas Brome's daughter who married into the Ferrers family, and they are the ones that hold the house for over 12 generations, over 500 years. The Ferrers family live here at Baddesley, so I'll go into a bit more of their story as we go around the house. hope you liked the interiors of Baddesley. I really love the dark oak wood panelling, it's just gorgeous. I really love the story of the quartet. Now, the story to that is there was a chap called Edward Dering, and he wanted to marry Rebecca Orpen, I think her surname was. Now, he went to her aunt, Lady Chatterton, Georgiana, and he wanted to ask for permission to marry her. Now, she got the wrong end of the stick and thought that he was proposing to her. And Edward was too much of a gentleman to correct her, so he went through with it and ended up getting married to Lady Chatterton. And in the end, his friend Marmion Ferrers, who owned Baddesley, got married to Rebecca. And eventually, a couple of years later, both couples, the quartet, moved into Baddesley together, and that's where they all lived until the end of their days. And a lot of Lady Chatterton's money was used to actually do up Baddesley Clinton. So it's her money that restored the property.